And welcome back to News Talk. Taking care of loved ones is often a shared responsibility among family members, but women more often than not take the heaviest load and end up neglecting their own needs. So what happens when those providing the care need care? The AARP thinks it is a question that every woman needs to ask, and the group has launched an initiative challenging women to create a plan for their future. I would like to welcome Cassandra Oshinnaiye. She's the campaign manager for AARP's Decide.Create.Share campaign. Cassandra, thanks so much for joining us. Again, before we talk about the campaign, I want to put the phone number out because I think this is something that would be great if some people called in. A lot of questions on this. Phone number is 703-387-1020. Again, 703-387-1020. Feel free to call in. Cassandra, first of all, let's talk a little bit about this program. What is it?
Sure. It's an initiative for women, as you mentioned. What we're doing is really educating women on what long-term care is. We found that as we were going around doing all sorts of events and mentioned the term long-term care, women automatically thought long-term care insurance or nursing homes, and so they were like, well, that's not me, I'm too busy, I'm overwhelmed. And so we thought, well, it's time for us to really educate on what that is and what are the benefits of planning, so that when you get to a point in life where you have to make these tough decisions, you're not doing it with emotion, but you're able to understand what your options are and make good decisions.
You have a plan.
Yes.
Before we talk about what the plan is, I want to ask you, why do you think this is something that was sort of that women aren't really thinking about? Well, why is that it came as such a surprise to so many people you're hearing from?
It's that overwhelming feeling. You have women who are taking care of parents, who are taking care of children, getting the kid off to college, or still taking care of teens or preteens. And so we are just not taking the time to think about, okay, well, where do I see myself in the future? Who's going to be there for me? I think for many of us, we kind of say, okay, well, I'll just get married and my husband will take care of everything and that will be the end of it. And so what we're finding is, as women are living longer, longer than men, outliving their spouses especially, they find themselves not understanding, oh my gosh, you know, he took care of everything. I have no idea where these valuable documents are. I don't know what our retirement plan looked like. And so we say, again, don't wait until something happens to make those decisions, but really start looking at them now. So
when you talk about this being such a critical issue, that women really do have to plan for the future, what are the things they can do? What are the steps they can take? Because really that's the goal here, right?
Correct.
Lay out a plan, lay out some groundwork. What can women do?
Well, there are simple steps. There are things like looking at assessing your home and your community. Is your home safe?
Home value? Home?
Well, home in the sense of its safety.
Okay.
We hear from our members that they want to age at home. That's where they want to stay. They've worked so hard to acquire this house.
Sure.
They want to stay there. And so what we say is make sure that home is safe for you to stay there.
Okay.
Make sure that the community that you live in has the resources and the services you may need in the future. Look at your family health history. You know, we always go to the doctor when something's wrong, but then we don't know what are some of those illnesses we may be susceptible to in the future because of our genes. You know, understanding what your finances look like. What will you have in the future? And then lastly, looking at those important documents like advance directives, like living wills, things like that that will really help make those decisions later on.
The phone number is 703-387-1020 if you'd like to call in and talk about this. We're talking with Cassandra Oshinnaiye about the idea of women planning for later years. Do you find, as you talk about making a plan, you talk about homes being safe, you talk about financial stability and knowing what your financial situation is. Are there any, I guess, roadmaps that you've seen to be successful? Whether it's, I don't know, downsizing when it comes to your home or your living space, issues of driving, really everyday logistical issues. Are there any that you and your research have seen that have been very successful for women?
Well, just the education piece, just understanding what are those steps that you can take. We find that women, just by thinking through, okay, wait, do I really want to live where I am? You know, maybe I want to move and be closer to children, to my grandchildren. And so any step you take is a successful step, really, because you're really evaluating what your options are. You know, I also wanted to mention that today we will have a session, we do sessions throughout the country, educating women on what are some of those steps that they can do. And so today we will be at the Living Social Building on 918 F Street Northwest at noon, and again at 6 p.m. Doing a seminar on what are the things women can do today to better take care of their future. And
people can come in and ask questions and get some help on some of these issues.
Absolutely.
What have you seen? I mean, this is something you deal with every single day. We're talking a lot about the organization and what things can be done. What's your personal experience in this issue?
Well, for me, I think where it all hit home was when I saw my mom at age 56. My grandmother passed away. My grandma had a daughter who had Down syndrome. My mom now became a caregiver full-time. Never imagined, never thought about it. They never had that conversation. There was never anything in place, and we were scrambling, and there were a lot of family issues that came out of that because no one knew what were those wishes. What did my grandma had in mind? And she had been ill for a while, but no one wanted to talk. And so when I saw that, it was like, wow, you know, this is when we should have those conversations, when we are all not emotional, when no one's sick, you know, you're able to make those decisions. And so that really hit home for me. And I have children, and so as I think about it, I'm thinking I don't want them to go through that either.
And is this something I would imagine not only I'm not only a spokesman, I'm also a member. I mean, this is something you not only promote for other people, but this is a really personal thing for you as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And talking about some of the strategies that you're offering to people, does the time that we're living in, do strategies evolve? Are there any that you can think of? And we only have a very short time here. Living in 2013, what sort of changes?
Well, you know, the whole digital age, right? So now instead of just thinking about where is my bank account, now you have to think about, well, where do I keep my passwords? Who knows what my passwords are for my mail, my email, my mobile phone, things like that. I think that's an added piece that we've had to add to our tools, which again, we have free tools and resources on Decide.Create.Share.org, where women can go and get free resources and tools and information.
Cassandra Oshinnaiye, thank you so much for joining us, talking about women planning for the future.
Thank you.
Great advice. Back with the program note after this.